What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shad. Thank you as always for tuning into the channel. If you have not subscribed just yet, please make sure you hit that button, and on your way out hit that like button as well. Last week Jordan Brand dropped the Jordan 5 Apple Green, aka Oregon Ducks, and price tag on this shoe was $225. Now when I pulled this shoe out the box, first thing that I thought was, what about this shoe makes this $225? So there's a few things on this shoe that I want to go over that helps you get an idea of what I think about the shoe and whether or not it's really worth $225. So what I want to dive into is the quality of this shoe, the exclusivity of the shoe, how collectible is it, and then the presentation of this shoe, and we'll find out whether or not it's really a $225 sneaker. So the first thing I want to talk about is the presentation of this shoe. First things first, I will say you do get a really nice box. Love the Jordan SC box a la the Union 1s. You have the Animal Instinct Jordan 3s, and a few other pairs as well have shared the same box. So what I will say is that the box is probably the best part about the presentation. You don't get a hang tag, you don't get any extra shoelaces. It's really just the box and the shoe. There's no special tissue paper or anything like that. So I will say with that, does that really warrant the $225 price tag? I'll say no. So next I want to talk about the exclusivity or collectability of the shoe. So we know the Apple Green Jordan 5s are taken after the Oregon 5 player exclusive, which released a few years ago, and resale prices are through the roof. What you don't have on this sneaker is the Oregon O that's on the tongue. You don't have the duck that's on the heel counter. Instead, you have the Jumpman logo and then the actual team tag. This shoe was available across multiple retailers. You could find them on Foot Locker, Finish Line. It was on Sneakers. That's where I actually got my pair from. And they actually did stay available for a little while. Actually, this morning there was a restock, so more pairs became available as well. So as far as exclusivity, it's definitely nowhere in comparison to the actual player exclusive itself. So as far as it being a $225 sneaker in terms of collectability or exclusivity, I'm going to say no once again. Now lastly, and definitely not least, we're going to talk about the actual quality of the shoe. I do want to call out my pair in particular as far as quality is concerned. I do have a few things about it that I want to make sure that I mention. I have seen other video reviews where the shoes look to be fine. They don't have any flaws or anything like that, so take it with a grain of salt. Every pair is going to be different, of course. Now in terms of quality, as far as overall craftsmanship of the shoe, like I mentioned before, we don't have the Oregon O stitched in on the tongue or the actual duck on the heel counter. Instead, we have this Jumpman logo on a 3M tongue, and then you have the team logo that's stitched in on the back. On my pair in particular, there's actually some heavy creasing on the toe box, and that was something that I noticed and was surprised to see. On my right shoe was actually a little bit more prominent than it is on the left shoe, but still very noticeable nonetheless. A really nice touch is the quilted lining on the inside of the shoe. Now these are pretty similar in concept to the Michigan Jordan 5s that released last year, and I do love the quilted lining on the inside of the shoe. I think that is probably one of the best touches on the sneaker. The upper quality as far as the materials are concerned are a little bit different between the Michigan and the Oregon 5s here. Now when I first saw pictures of the Apple Green Jordan 5s, I thought the quality of the suede was going to be similar to the Michigan 5s, which I absolutely love, but I was really surprised when I actually pulled these out the box to find out that these aren't really the same kind of material. If it is, it's actually cut a little bit differently than what the Michigan 5s are. Here you have much shorter suede hair, and it actually feels more like the winterized Jordan 4 that released last winter, and that was interesting to see. Like overall, the cut just seems a little bit different than what the Michigan 5 was. Now another thing that I want to call out is I do have some paint issues around the shoe, like in the air pocket and then on the shark tooth and in some other areas you can see little remnants of paint around the shoe, which can be taken off, but again, something worth noting. And then probably like the most annoying thing for me is going to be the exposed glue that you see on the midsole, because you have that contrast between the green and the black on the midsole and the upper. The glue line on the midsole is really visible, and again, that is something that is really annoying. So the last thing I want to call out is just minor cosmetic thing. I have a long black string on the green upper, which is interesting to find because the stitching on the upper is in green. So to see that there, it's a little surprising. Now, if it was any other kind of shoe, I probably wouldn't have paid much attention to it. I probably would have ripped it off and kept it moving. But again, because this is a $225 sneaker, I expect a little bit more. Now, not all of it is bad though. I will say overall, the styling cue of the shoe is really nice. I love green. Green is one of my favorite colors. If you look behind me, I have a green wall, and again, that's by design. Green and gray are two of my favorite colors. So when I first saw this, I was naturally gravitating towards this, not because this was an Oregon PE or anything like that, just because this is a green shoe and I love green. And the green and the yellow and the black, you can't go wrong. That dark color, it's really sinister looking. I think it's a mean color, and you know, just really great. And then you have the smoky inserts on the netting on the sides, and then you have the netting on the tongue again in that smoky with the black laces, and then you have that smoked out lace lock. Really dope. Now, what I would have loved to have seen would have been some yellow laces, or maybe even some green laces. I don't know, but you know, it is what it is. You've got that translucent outsole, of course, standard Jordan 5 vibes. I love the Jordan 5 outsole, one of my favorite outsoles on a sneaker. And you know, obviously you wear your sneakers, they're gonna yellow faster, they're gonna get dirty. That's what they're made for. Don't be afraid to dirty your soles. You have the insole in that same yellow that matches the actual midsole, which I think is really cool. And I really like the green stitching on the upper, and that laid against the green material on the upper, it still manages to kind of pop out at you. Usually you would think it would just kind of sink in. It's not like black stitching, you know, on black material, but it's, you know, it's subtle, but it still pops out at you, and I think it's really cool. All right, so there you have it. It's the Jordan 5 Apple Greens, aka Oregon Ducks. And again, the question is this a $225 sneaker? At the end of the day, my answer is gonna be no. I think conceptually, this is a really cool shoe. I love the colorway. I love the Jordan 5. I think execution-wise, it's okay. My pair, there's a lot left to be desired. So I'm gonna say no, this is not worth the $225. It's probably around the $190 price range, just like the standard Jordan 5 Retro, around that price point. Now, the other question is, which one do I prefer? Is it going to be the Michigan 5s or the Oregon 5s? Let's negate the fact that I'm a complete Michigan fan. Overall, if we look at the cut of this shoe, the materials on this shoe, this is a much better shoe than the Oregon 5s. And again, this is only speaking in terms of my pair. Now, what you can see is, it's probably not visible here, but the cut is completely different. It's much higher on this shoe than this one. So the cut on the Oregon 5s is probably a little bit more closer to the OG than it is on the Michigan. You've got the boxy toe on the Michigan 5s, but I like the way it flows. It's a little bit better. The suede on this shoe, again, is amazing. I love it. You've got the speckling on the midsole where the maze is, which I think is a really nice touch. You don't get much of the dynamic contrast on this, rather than it being yellow and black. So, you know, I like the smoky netting on this shoe as opposed to the clear netting on the Michigan 5s. But again, overall, just a much better shoe in my opinion. So post a comment and let me know what you guys think about the Apple Green Jordan 5s. Do you think they knocked this one out of the park? Is it worth $225? Do you prefer this one over the Michigan 5s? Let me know. All right, so as always, again, thank you guys for tuning in. I will catch you on the next one. Y'all be easy. Peace.